Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're joining from. Welcome to the Women in Cloud Fortune 100 Lunch and Learn series. Today, we have a session that is presented in partnership with Boeing. We're so excited to have some key leaders joining us today to share more about Boeing, learn about their company culture, channel partnerships, procurement, lots of stuff we're going to cover today. So thank you so much for joining. Go ahead and start using that chat. I see people are already using the emoji feature, so that's great. My name is Raisa Noel. I'm the Global Program Events Lead with Women in Cloud, and we are so excited to have all of you here today. So how I want you to understand using the platform. I know that this platform can sometimes be new for folks. So what you need to do, you're doing right now, messaging in the general chat. You can use the emojis to cheer and clap during. You're going to share on social. Go ahead and use hashtag WICXFortune100, hashtag Women in Cloud, or hashtag SheSoars. And if at any time during the session you lose audio or it seems to be lagging somewhat, don't just go ahead and refresh your browser and it should all be set. Remo works best on an up-to-date Chrome browser from a laptop or desktop. So make sure you're not joining from a tablet or a mobile device so you can have the best experience when you're connecting today. So during today's session, we have a couple exciting things that we're going to go through. So you'll learn about the power of strategic partnering with Boeing, and then the panel, which is the meat of the session today, is where we'll really dive into the trifecta approach of building strategic relationships with Boeing. And they're going to talk about, talent, business development, alliances, and more. So stick around for that. Then we will have a cloud solution showcase with two amazing entrepreneurs from the Women in Cloud ecosystem, and they're going to share about their innovative solutions. Then we will have a focused networking experience where you'll get to meet with Boeing leaders at roundtables in the virtual lounge where you just came from on a number of different topics. So with that, I would love to introduce Chaitra Vidulapalli. She is the president and co-founder of Women in Cloud. She is an advocate for creating economic access for women in tech, and we're so happy to have her with us today. Chaitra, welcome.
Thank you, Raisa. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Hello, it's Friday. Are you all excited? It's Friday. Yes, yes, yes. I love those emojis flying. So we are really excited to have you here. And today we all have made a decision and we have made a choice to be here. So let's make sure it can be instrumental in changing your life. So here's a question I'll ask you, and then we'll go into the discussion. What skill do you need to acquire to achieve your next goal? Go ahead and put it in the chat. What skill do you need to acquire to achieve your next goal? For me, it was fundraising stuff, so which we spent a lot of time this week to really figure out how can we really do the right thing so we can create more access for women in the tech industry. So I'm Chaitra Vidulapalli. I'm the co-founder and president of Women in Cloud. So we are a community-led and economic development organization designed for creating $1 billion in economic access for female tech founders in partnership with the Fortune brands and communities. So we focus on three areas. The first one we focus on is the female tech entrepreneurship and also the innovation to foster economic development. The second thing that we are also doing is building partnership with the Fortune brands and the communities to accelerate cloud employability for women. So all of you are here thinking entrepreneurs, think about hiring women in those tech jobs, and tech companies think about hiring women in those tech jobs and how we can accelerate together. And the third one is to drive nonpartisan political advocacy work to advance policies that create and retain economic access for women. So last week, we rolled out the 2021 edition of the COVID-19 report. And as part of it, one of the data that we felt was very, very interesting and also very possible to execute. So one they asked for is 70% of women entrepreneurs in our network stated that the number one request was a warm introduction to an advisor, a leader, or a mentor who can transform the trajectory of their career through the power of collective access and action. Do you all agree with that? Do you all agree that we want more warm introduction? Yes? Yes? Okay, I love it. Like, I love that people are saying yes. Well, we have made it possible. So we formally are rolling out the Cloud Leader Circle, where all these leaders across the industry are ready to work with you, meet with you, advise you to really take you to a next trajectory. So as part of it, we already have 75 people who have raised their hand and they are already configured. So I would like all of you to do today a homework after this session is go to Get Introduced app and request at least a warm introduction for yourself. And we will do is ensure that we will reach out to them, get their approval, and get you connected. And then next week, we are rolling out is a 7-day Get Introduced challenge to really help all of them become an influential cloud advisor in our ecosystem, because becoming an advisor is great. Becoming an influential advisor requires a different skilling. So that is the skill that we will be focusing on in the next 2 weeks, up to 3 weeks, and getting at least 250 people ready to be here to advise our community and really advance their opportunity in the tech industry. So why are we here? We are here because we believe that the more strategic partnerships we have with the Fortune brands, we can definitely advance the economic development. So for us, this week was Boeing, and we are so fortunate to have Boeing be with us. They are the largest aerospace company, and that was number 2 choice on the entrepreneur list. The first one was retail, because the retail was dying very quickly, so everyone said we need to have a lot of retail company. The second one was aerospace, and we literally reached out to Cara South and Jennifer Davis from Boeing, absolutely spectacular leaders in the ecosystem, to really invite and do this Lunch and Learn series so we can help more women get into learning about Boeing and understand what the potential opportunities are. That's why we have the Lunch and Learn series. So a little bit about Boeing. If you want to go and learn about them, go on Google and you can find, but they are the largest aerospace company and a leading manufacturer of commercial jetliners, defense, space, security system, and service providers of the aftermarket support. As America's biggest manufacturing exporter, the company supports airlines, the US, and the allied government customers in more than 150 countries. So they are one of our global partner. Boeing products and tailored services include commercial, military aircraft, satellites, weapons, electronic and defense system, launch system, advanced information and communication system, and performance-based logistics and training. And today you get to meet the people who make the company the largest aerospace company, and you get to learn the culture, you get to learn about how they work with entrepreneurs, how they really advance women in their careers. So with that, I am so excited to invite Cara South. She's been there from the day one with Women in Cloud, helping us to really shape how we create economic access for women. So Cara, welcome. She is currently the Senior IT Manager for the Application Management as a Service and Modernization. And really, she's really responsible for the Boeing's application managed as a service program, which includes the modernization in leveraging cloud solution. She was the first person who came in and said, we need to drive cloud transformation in Boeing. And she's been working for the last 4 years relentlessly and emphasizing more women to be here engaged. And she has 3 amazing children who every day provide a grounding and what a life is about balance. She enjoys playing guitar in her band, Tune Treasures, kayaking, hiking, and camping. So with that, Kara, welcome to the Women in Cloud community and the Fortune 100 Lunch and Learn series. And thank you for making this possible for our community. You can take it from here. And yeah, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Chaitra. I really appreciate it. We have a saying in the sense of if you can make it work in Boeing, you can make it work anywhere, because we really have pretty much every single technology you can imagine in here. So, but I wanted to definitely acknowledge Chaitra, absolutely amazing leader for us, and our experience with Women in Cloud has been amazing. It has been a journey, definitely over the last 5 years, and it's been exciting to see all the connections and how we're actually continuing to grow and make a difference and move the needle. So I'm excited to introduce you to our amazing, we have, just think about how big Boeing is, right? So, but we've got some amazing women leaders in our company. And so I wanted to definitely have them introduce themselves. And so we've got Michelle de Mercario and Michelle Denny and Jennifer Davis. And we definitely have Paris for us. So want to give them a few minutes to introduce themselves, and we'll just go from left to right. So go ahead, Michelle de Mercario. All right. How about with this? How about we start with Michelle Denny, since you're showing up on the screen? Why don't we start with you first?
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Michelle Denny, and I am the Director of IT's Business Transformation Office, which means I'm leading the program that's going to be delivering work transformations for how we're going to deliver our products to the business in the future. And I'm very excited to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Jennifer Davis?
Yeah, I'm Jennifer Davis. I'm a Director in Information Technology, responsible for the development of engineering systems, product data management, and test and evaluation. Happy to be here.
Excellent. Paris?
Good day, everybody. I'm Paris Forrest, Senior Director of End User Services. I am responsible for our client computing, end user support and services, and also our communication and collaboration, which includes all of our cloud-enabled productivity. So happy to be here with you all.
Thank you. Excellent. And please, Michelle de Mercario still out there? Did she drop?
She texted me and didn't get an invite to the panel, so I just sent a note, so hopefully we can get her invited and added.
Okay, excellent. All right, so we'll work that behind the scenes. All right, so there are some key questions that we had that was part of this panel. And what we're going to start with is more of a continuation of our introduction with our leaders here. And so we can get to know them. And then I'll move into some specific questions that each leader will be able to answer. And then we also have a couple extra questions if we have time. So for all the panelists that are here from Boeing, the question that we have for all of you is, as a woman in tech, what personal or professional experiences led you to choose a career in technology? So why don't we start with Michelle Denny.
Oh, sorry, and actually, we had a preview. Jennifer was going to start with this question.
Okay,
Oh, this one's to us all.
to all of you,
Oh.
you answer this one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't mind starting.
I'm trying to text Michelle to tell her her invite's coming. So actually,
Let's start with Jennifer Davis. How about that? That'll give you some time to work.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. I thought about this, and the interesting thing is I didn't actually choose to go into technology. I went to university for pre-med and chemistry. Some things happened that I didn't get to continue down that path. And I got tired of the job I was at as a receptionist for a company. And I had a friend that had a sister and brother-in-law that worked for Boeing. And they actually got me an interview with the help desk. And I had not really had any computing experience, but I just told them, hey, I'm a quick learner. I do a good job, so I hired on as a contractor in August. And then by October, I was a full-time Boeing employee and really enjoyed that job, did a bunch of different things within the help desk. And then I actually got a great mentor. I ended up losing my father in 1999, and my mentor at Boeing kind of took on that place because my father was one that I always asked for career guidance from. And that mentor actually always pushed me into other areas. So I was in the help desk for a while, and then he gave me an opportunity to kind of do a program office type of role along with application development. And that was back in 2001. And I've been in development in numerous facets throughout the Boeing company since. So I kind of fell into it, loved it, and continue to stay. And 31 years later, I'm still loving it.
Excellent. Okay, Michelle Mercario has just joined us. So why don't we go back and let her do her introduction? Sorry about whatever happened, but welcome.
Oh no, the joy of technology, right? Just
Exactly.
do one little different thing and it kind of throws you off. So no, I threw out a lifeline to Paris and she got me going. So thanks for your patience and apologize for that. Michelle Mercario, responsible for enterprise IT operations here at Boeing.
Excellent. Thank you, Michelle. Okay, so let's continue what we were doing with the question. Let me know if you need me to repeat the question. But Paris, let's have you go next, and then Michelle Denny will go with you after Paris.
Paris, you're on mute.
Yeah, down at the bottom, you should be able to turn off or turn the red off, the mic on. And still muted. Move your mouse down.
We're our technology experience here, aren't we?
I know, right? Move your mouse down and see if you can undo the red. Okay, so let's do this. We'll help you behind the scenes. Michelle Denny, let's have you go next, and then we'll go Michelle Mercario.
Okay, thank you. So I always start my intro for most people and tell them how I'm a Boeing brat. My dad worked for Boeing for 34 years, and my mom worked here for 25. And in fact, my two sisters also worked at Boeing and left to go do other things, and I'm the one that stayed here. Similar to Jennifer, I hired in BCA airplane programs, and so actually was a project manager in that arena, and had to support a big IT project. And because of my business knowledge, IT needed that in trying to figure out how to make the software work. After a few years on that big project, and for my peers, it was DCAC MRM, and that'll make them all cringe. I got pulled into IT and actually asked to be a project manager there. And for the record, for my family, it was called going to the dark side. They couldn't imagine wanting to go to IT. And through the years, I had found that because I'm not a traditional techie person, that I bring a different and diverse perspective that has demonstrated a different way to add value. And of course, as most of us know, technology causes all kinds of challenges to the business, and it's all about collaborating and solving problems, which are things that I totally enjoy to do. And so that's how I have managed to stay in technology and continued my career here.
Great. Thank you, Michelle. Okay, how about Michelle Mercario?
Yeah, thanks. So I have a little different story. I actually am an IT by trade. And my story really began with my dad purchasing, I don't even remember what it was at the time, but the first Apple computer, home computer that we could purchase. I don't remember if it was the 2E or what it was at the time anymore, but he really always had the latest and greatest gadgets, and he's still like that to this day. And so he bought this computer, and in order to do much with it, you sort of had to figure out how it actually worked, the nuts and bolts of it. And so he bought me programming books, and I sort of got started in that way and tinkering. And honestly, I never ever thought about going into computers or technology, but I got to college and I didn't know what I wanted to do. And my advisor suggested, oh, take this class, take that class, take this programming class, trying to help me explore. And I got into my first programming class, learning how to program in Pascal. And the instructor was a woman who I credit me going into technology. I credit her with my choice to go into technology from that day, that she recognized in me that it was something I was good at and that I appeared to enjoy. And she pulled me aside and talked to me about how even then, way back then, because I'm old now, it was so important to get more women into technology, and encouraged me, became my advisor, encouraged me, helped me make connections at the university in order to really successfully complete a degree there in computer science. So she was my beacon into the field, and I'll say that I may have landed here eventually, but I really appreciate that she took the time to recognize a passion in me and that I really had an affinity to programming, and helped me see that there was possibility for me in a classroom of all men. So, I really, a little different than my two cohorts here that shared their story, but just amazing beginning. Professor Ruthie Dare, my mentor, my inspiration.
Excellent. Okay, Etsy, we're gonna come back to Paris as soon as she comes back on. She's going off and on there. So let's go to the next question. We have Jennifer, a question specifically for you lined up here. What are some challenges, specifically in biases and imposter syndromes, have you faced in the tech industry?
I think for me, in thinking of this question, imposter syndrome really comes to mind. I've always been a people person, even though I'm in technology. I love working with folks. I love bringing folks together, getting rid of roadblocks. I really focus on building those relationships. So being in the technology sector, I felt like an imposter for a while. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just making it through because I really pull these people together, until I read the Covey book, The Speed of Trust. And The Speed of Trust talked about, building those relationships. But if people don't have the confidence that you have the competence to do the job, then you're not going to succeed. And that's when the aha moment came on for me, that, oh my gosh, I'm a little better than I thought I was. I'm not such an imposter because I get the job done. I can speak technical, I can work the technical. I just value working on the relationships. But it really helped me get over that imposter syndrome by realizing that they also have the confidence that I am competent enough to do this job. And so I think that is one of the biggest things, the biggest aha moments for me. And I really stress that with a lot of my mentees, reading The Speed of Trust, understanding, because some go the other way. It's, my technical will get me, the accolades for the competence. But if you don't have that people aspect of it also, then your technical could fall on deaf ears, the way that you deliver it. So finding that balance, between getting to your message across in a way that people connect with, but then also that competence of the technical abilities, I think is one of my biggest takeaways on that question.
Great, thank you. Okay, next question from Michelle Denny. What advice would you give to women in the tech field?
So thanks. Interesting enough, I had thought about this question as well, and I just had a dialogue with a mentee that was talking about where to go next and you know, if she was ready or not. And I think one of the things that I really want to stress is, as women, when we go for different assignments, our tendency is to think we have to have every requirement nailed 100%, right? Unless we are sure we can nail that job, we're not willing to take a chance. And so when I was chatting with her, it's don't wait. If it's something that you have an interest and you're passionate about, right? I mean, I actually had my last boss tell me, I didn't hire you because you could do the job. I hired you because I knew you could grow into the job. So I think that's a really key message. So be bold, chase your passions. I think that's really important. The other thing I want to mention, and I feel so excited to be here with the women from Boeing that I am, is kind of finding your tribe and missing Paris. But Michelle, Jennifer, and Paris are three of my coworkers that are incredibly wonderful to have in your corner, right? I have at different times reached out to each one of them for career challenges, people challenges, right? Jennifer, and that whole imposter stuff. And so I think for women in general, having a tribe that you can go to as your sounding board and have absolute trust, so that, as I say, I can be Michelle behaving badly to them and they're okay with that, and they help me not be Michelle behaving badly with other people. So that's a good thing. The last thing that I'll mention is that have grace and patience with yourself. We are our own worst enemy, and we judge ourselves so critically when it comes to doing a job. And so, you know that you're doing your best, you're going to learn and grow. And you know, as someone says, the way we talk to ourselves is never the way we would talk to a friend, our child, right? Or someone who works with us. And so I think it's really important that you all give yourself grace and allow you to grow in your careers and technology and what you do. The last thing I'll bring up, because I just recently was reading a book on this, on how other women help women rise. And one of the things that was really an aha moment, Jennifer, for me was, it talks a lot about sometimes we have the impression that if someone else succeeds or does well, that means less for us, right? We work from a place of not enough instead of abundance. And so what I try to think about is there is no limitations to the capacity or the capability for me or others to succeed. So don't ever, right, think that, oh no, if someone does well, I won't, right? Make your own more pie, right, to go join and do something else. So those were some of the things that I would share. And, you know, by the way, I'm still learning in this phase as well.
Excellent. Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate it. All right, Paris, hi.
Sorry, hi, I'm hoping I'm back. Can you hear me?
There. Hey, I've been saving your questions for you, so I would love to be able to go back and definitely we want to hear from you. So don't leave, stay there. Okay, so let's go back, and I want to definitely give you an opportunity to introduce yourself. And so the question that everybody started with was, as a woman in tech, what personal and/or professional experiences led you to choose a career in technology?
Thanks, Kara. I appreciate you going back for me and apologize for the delay, but here we are, better late than never. So for me, you know, it was a collection of things. I was always really, really good with technology when I was little. I remember being in second grade and I was the only one of my classmates that could ever get the computer to work when it was time to play Oregon Trail. And so the teacher would always send me just a few minutes ahead of the class to make sure that I had booted up our little machine so that myself and my classmates, we could do our computer lab work. And somehow along the journey, I had forgotten that that was something that was just a natural inclination for me. So by the time that I got to school, I was actually studying pre-med biology as well. And I was all set to go down a path and a route, and I was getting ready to go to medical school. And my mother actually worked in the department where I wound up interning. And she was like, you know, I know you want to be a doctor, and I think that's amazing and it's a beautiful thing, but I really think you should think about this IT thing because you've always been really good with computers. And so I came and I did that internship. And I didn't burn the building down. So they asked me to come back and come full-time to work. And I transitioned from a career thinking that I was going to become a pediatric oncologist, and I wound up as a junior developer. So for me, the path was very adjacent. And yeah, I'm really grateful that educationally, from an educational perspective, I did a lot of study and research, and the sciences all work together. So when I became a developer, my perspective was much different than those that had been studying development from the jump. So it was definitely one of those sideways fall into IT moments, but one that I'm really grateful for.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing. So I'm going to actually ask you your question because you were actually up next. So apologize that you get to do back to back, but hopefully you're warmed up now. Okay, so let's definitely ask your question. What are you most excited about for the future of technology?
I am most excited about the prospect of how productivity changes with data and information being off devices and on the perimeter, right at the edge. And so how that's going to enable global productivity for entities like the Boeing company and really for our customers and just the whole marketplace. I think about how cool it is to think about not having to figure out how we bring new customers and new businesses on board and collaborate seamlessly across the globe. Right now, that is not something that's very easy for anyone to really do outside of the commercial market. So when I think about the possibilities there from the work that I get to do every single day, I get really excited about how cloud enablement in some of the spaces that allow us to connect with one another from one part of the globe to the other, how that becomes so much more seamless in a cloud-enabled future. So it's very geeky in my head, but and definitely close to what I do and selfish, but it's very much what excites me, thinking about being able to streamline the productivity for my teammates in a way that's enabled by technology.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing. All right. So I do have a couple extra questions if we have time, which looks like we do. So this is open for anyone to answer. Hopefully we'll get a couple of you to answer each one of these. What is something you believed earlier in your career but think about differently now?
Well, maybe I will, if you don't mind, I'll jump in and maybe foot stomp a little bit of what Michelle Denny shared earlier around she didn't say it this way, but really about taking risk. You know, in her comment around growing into the role, I really think I've been lucky enough through the many years I've been at Boeing to play many different roles within IT. And I really think that the only way I was able to get those opportunities was first to perform incredibly well, or as best as I could in the role I was playing at the time, but also in being willing to step into the next role before I was really ready. And what I mean by that is not necessarily from a capability perspective, but from the perspective of there were several times in my career where I loved what I was doing. And there were things I was in the middle of that I wanted to finish. But when I was presented with an opportunity that felt a little risky and was going to take me away from that, I had good mentors and coaches around me that helped me understand why it was good for the team and good for me to take that risk and step away from something that I felt was going well, moving towards well-oiled, to go help in another area. So I really think for me, it's about seizing the opportunity when it comes, even if you're not really ready.
Excellent.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback onto that, Michelle, spot on. That was exactly kind of the lane that I was getting ready to go down as well. And I think one thing that I think about differently is you really don't need to be an expert in an area of technology to lead that area of technology. You have to be an expert listener and an expert learner and an expert empathy person to really grow the capability around you with really smart and amazing people. So that's something that I really think about differently when the next challenges come about. I don't say to myself, wow, I don't know anything about that. I get excited now because it gives me an opportunity to expand my learning.
Excellent. Anybody else would like to, Michelle or Jennifer, would you like to expand upon that question? What is something you believed early in your career but think about differently now?
So I have to say I've gone through a couple different circles early in my career, which is kind of interesting, right? So I, similar to Jennifer, have 30 plus years here at Boeing. And when I first hired in, my dad worked here, and he told me that it was a very Theory X management type, systems. And I was like, oh my God, Dad, this is 1990, you're crazy. And then my first day at work, I had a male manager ask me to get him a cup of coffee, right? And it was like, I responded in a way that was not so nice about it, right? But I've definitely, I was shocked by that behavior, right? Didn't think that could be possible in a big corporation. I mean, it was just my lens wasn't there. And what's been interesting is, I would say now in IT, we still are underrepresented as women for sure, but totally seeing that change in regards to that, and a great deal because of the ladies that are sitting here or visual here on the screen with me, right? All of you in the passion and the promotion of each other, the learning and the types of things that they've done. And so it is nice to see even a corporation as big as Boeing on that evolution journey. We have a lot of work left. Paris is part of our diversity and racial task force that's really focusing on that. And so, that's also my kind of hope for the future, right? Is that things are changing, right? The diversity and the movement towards women and our ability to hold leadership roles. It's just phenomenal. And as a mother of daughters, right, that makes me even, excited as well, is to see opportunities that they're facing that never were there for me. So, it's just fun to see that evolution. And by the way, they call me out when I'm not behaving appropriately. When they say, hey, Mom, you got to show other people this is the way you should act. And so that's also something different, right? They hold me accountable to be the best me and to represent, women and challenge me to be my best. So that's also something else I'd add.
Great, thank you. All right, Jennifer, would you like to take on that question too? It seems to hit a number of topics, so that's why I was having all of you answer it. But what is something you believed early in your career but think about differently now?
Yeah, I think one thing that really comes to mind is, Michelle de Mercario hit on it a little bit of, you do a good job and you get moved on to something else, but never thought about self-promotion. Just kind of thought, if I do a good job, it will get noticed. But then, I kind of watched some of my male peers, and they were more aggressive in tooting their own horn. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I finally learned that there's nothing wrong. And really, what was one of the most aha moments for me was my director at the time was retiring. And he was talking to his boss in his office, and his boss said, "What am I going to do? You are leaving a gap." And all of a sudden I thought to myself, I'm like, well, my boss's job is supporting flight, fleet, and sales and marketing. My last 3 senior management positions have been flight, fleet, and sales and marketing. And I got up out of my desk. I walked into the office and I said, your answer is right here. You won't have to do any training. I know all the customers. I know the domain. I still get questions from them, even though I don't work in that area anymore. And that was really the first time I ever did that self-promotion, and it felt so good. I said, at least give me a shot to become a director. And they actually gave me the opportunity. But so that's one thing that I would say is, women tend to think, head down, work hard, you'll get recognized. But where men, not afraid to toot their own horn. And I've really learned that it's not a bad thing. I'm going to learn from them.
Excellent. All right. So Paris, how about what has been your biggest learning opportunity?
Ooh, how long do we have? How much time? You know, I'm gonna, just because it's the closest thing to now, my last big challenging assignment, I got tapped on my shoulder and asked to lead from concept to execution, our project to product transformation with IT and DA. And it was such a massive and expansive and nebulous statement of work that just didn't have a whole lot of clarity around the what, the how, the when, the where, the why. And it really challenged me as an individual to spin up quickly in my learning on the individual components of what that meant. And then also spin up quickly as a leader on how to let a team be creative in a space that it was literally nothing but a black hole. So for me, that has been one of the most amazing learning opportunities from the perspective of being completely holistic. I had to grow in my own personal learning. I had to figure out really quick how to grow as a leader with one of the most diverse teams I have ever had. And when I say diversity, I mean every single intersection that you can have on a wheel of diversity, I had represented in a team of 12 people. And, you know, the promise of that is that it's going to be utopia, but the reality is that it was chaos every day because everybody had polarizing views of the work that we were trying to do. So that grew me up as a leader and helped me to recognize that, you know, when you have the kind of diversity that you've been hoping for and wishing for, you have to also make sure that you encourage everyone that we all get to be right. And if we're all right, let's take the best parts of all of our rightness and make something amazing. And then really trying to deliver that to a 6,000 person organization, trying to figure out how to make that real, relevant, and personal for all of those heartbeats. How to make sure that we brought our leaders along on the journey, because we weren't just, it wasn't about affecting a team, it was about affecting everyone and the ups and downs of that journey. So it's been probably the most terrifying, but also the most rewarding experience and learning opportunity. And I know a lot of my friends out there that are on the line here, and all of my friends that I'm on this panel with, went with me on that journey. So it definitely is the one that stands out for me.
Yeah, we lost Kara.
Who's taking over, ladies?
I don't know how much. Oh,
Go
I was
ahead.
going to say we don't have much time left, but I did see. There's Grace.
So thank you so much, ladies. This conversation really, I saw the chat on fire, responding to everything to share. You were so honest in your responses. And thank you, Kara, for really leading an exceptional panel. I know that everyone here has learned so much, and you know that's not it for today. So I want to thank you all as we conclude the panel portion. Kara, were there any closing remarks you wanted to share to close the panel before we move to the solution?
Well, I definitely want to personally thank everybody to be part of this. And as you're seeing, it definitely is an interesting experience when you have to go outside of our company. But also, I wanted to connect the dots. I wanted to say this, but I was kind of, staying on the script here. But, think about it. All of us are, 30 plus years theoretically. And, we stayed at Boeing for reasons. I get asked this all the time. Why do you stay at Boeing? You could go work someplace else. And I keep having the same answer in the sense that it's because we get to do so many complex technology areas. We don't lock into one product area as an example. And so that's been an interesting experience. But the other one I want to connect the dots on is that I also was on the medical path. And so I thought that was interesting to connect with Jennifer and Paris's path. I did my internship with Boeing under Dr. Parker. We had a huge exercise physiology lab in those days, 30 plus years. And I was the only person selected from the West Coast ever to be part of that program. And that's how I got introduced to Boeing and loved the corporate environment, something bigger than myself for some reason. And so when I was out in the medical field, I hated the hierarchy, because if you're not a doctor, you're just pretty much nothing with a bachelor's. And so I was like, okay, I need to get out of this thing. And I loved, anyway, that was when computing was just starting, really. And so that was exciting to be part of Boeing when we were able to do everything, including pulling cables with networking and end-to-end. So I learned every single system we have in the company back then. So I just thought that was interesting, the parallels, and excited to be part of this. So thank you.
Absolutely, Kara, and thank you for sharing your personal stories and your journeys. Again, I echo all the comments that are going through the and the sharing of thanks and gratitude for what you shared today. So, ladies, I'm going to have each of you just click mic off, camera off for me, and then we'll go to the next part of today's session. So before we head there, I want to, see some reactions in the chat. How did you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how did you all feel about that? The panel that we just had, did you learn something? Is there something that you will take away and walk away with? Great, loving the words here, inspired, empowered, loving the stories of encouragement. 10, excellent. Thank you so much, everybody. And again, thank you so much to Boeing. So before we go to the Cloud Solution Showcase, I want to invite everybody that's here with us today to continue to be engaged with Women in Cloud. So in October, one of our signature events is coming up, and it's called WIC UNGA. It's held in tandem with the UN General Assembly. And what we're doing at this 2-day event is really focusing on accelerating the 2030 UN Sustainable Development Goals. So we'll have content around digital transformation, economic opportunities, and global inclusivity and leadership development. So I want you to save the date. That's going to be on October 14th and 15th. It's going to be held in tandem as well with IdeaGen's 17 Days of Sustainability Summit and Empowering Women and Girls Summit, and also the Microsoft Build for 2030 Hackathon. So we're going to have a couple different tracks here and opportunities for you to engage, really focusing on cloud employability. So we'll have free hands-on cloud skilling labs where you get to learn with a cloud guru team and get access to training there. We'll have a diverse recruiting lounge for those of you that are seeking jobs, or even if you're looking to hire, you can participate as a recruiter. We will have content and discussions on AI for good, sustainability, and economic equity that all connect to the UN goals. And we'll have lots of networking experiences, AI Unplugged roundtables, leadership acceleration roundtables. So you get to utilize those warm introductions that you would have made through Get Introduced, really learn to grow your leadership skills. I saw that was one of the things mentioned earlier and one of the skills you need to achieve your next goal. So that's great. And we'll also be having another installment of the Cloud Innovate Her Pitch Challenge. Now, this time's pitch challenge is all about solutions that address one or more of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So if you think you fit that or know someone that does, encourage them to apply for the chance to win $5,000 in cash and cloud credits. So with that, I want to now bring next to the stage our entrepreneurs that will be participating in the Cloud Solution Showcase. So first up, I'm going to invite Garnett Weber of Itrex to join, and she'll be taking 5 minutes to share about her solution. And then following Garnett, we'll have Agnes Land of Kinderdrop. So Garnett, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. All right, I'm just going to share my screen here. Great. All right. So I was so inspired by the Boeing panel discussion, very motivating, and will help me as an entrepreneur and CEO of Itrex. I'm excited to share with you about Itrex Realtime, a solution for conducting text and video-based online focus groups and interviews. All right. Oops. All right. So historically, and especially before COVID, when companies, executives, anyone had challenges or questions, they used to hold focus groups and interviews, and they would have their customers or users travel a focus group facility. And in that facility, they would often have a neutral moderator facilitate a discussion with the attendee if it was an interview or a group of people in a focus group. And on the wall in that room, there would be a mirror. And on the other side of that mirror, in an adjacent room, as you can see in the picture here, there was a back room where the stakeholder conductor sort of funding the research would sit and listen in. And every once in a while, the research moderator would pop over and say, hey, was there anything that was interesting that I should probe more on? And then they would go and facilitate that in the discussion. The problem was it was so limiting, and the people running these had to fly all over the country or world to run them. And as people's time schedules get more and more demanding, the participants were less likely to attend these. And then when COVID hit, it was absolutely impossible. And so Itrex has provided Itrex Realtime a solution to this. So Itrex Realtime allows participants to connect from their home or work, and they can show their work situation. They can participate in a whole bunch of neat, fun, creative activities. And most uniquely, there is a virtual back room, and this is where the stakeholders would reside. And from here, and with the online environment, it has been so exciting because we see product engineers, designers, product managers, marketers. We see all new types of people being able to observe and engage and see their customers speak their experiences in firsthand. And through COVID, we've seen, and through this process, we've seen huge value. As these engineers, product designers, the team can collaborate from different areas of an organization, and you can get some really exciting creative discussions that can take place with ideas sparked from the words of the customer. We did a really fun project for E.ON, a large energy company in the UK. And one of the managers after shared with me that she was so excited in seeing the whole process unfold, because many of her employees had seen that there was a huge billing issue in their company, and they'd seen charts and graphs and scores alerting that this problem had existed for a long time. And they actually did a focus group where they connected hundreds of people globally, and they used chat discussion instead of video just because of the high numbers. And they were able to get these really collaborative interdepartmental communications and came up with some really creative solutions. And most of all, after seeing their customers, hearing the words in a really in-depth discussion, they then had the emotional intelligence to make those changes. So having conducted focus group research for 20 years, I know all the hiccups and steps and challenges associated with it. And so with that, we've built that all into the platform to really create an efficient global system that's turnkey, that will manage all of the communications, the scheduling, the consents, and really provide some robust reporting on the back end to help with having some good quality reports. And I'm so thankful through being involved with the Women in Cloud program and being an alumni, I've learned more about transitioning all of this to the cloud. And now with Microsoft Azure, we're able to host these sessions in all different jurisdictions, creating really high quality video recordings and allowing the data to be hosted in those different jurisdictions and in different languages. So that's been a real advancement for Itrex Realtime. All right, I'd love to connect with you. If you want a further discussion, I'm happy. I'll be in the lounge later. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for sharing so much on your solution, and it's very, very exciting, so innovative. So next up, I'd like to invite Agnes to join me on stage. So Garnett, all you have to do is stop your screen share and click mic off, camera off. Perfect. Excellent. So Agnes, stand by. I'm going to grant you access to come on with me right now. And Agnes is going to tell us about her solution, Kinderdrop. And Agnes is also one of the entrepreneurs that is part of the Women in Cloud ecosystem. and was a recent graduate. So we're excited to have her with us today. Agnes, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Excellent. We're excited to have you. So go ahead and take it away, Agnes.
Alrighty, let me find my slides. So, really empowered by today's talk. I have an engineering background. So I was one of those engineers, undergrad, that rolled out of bed in my pajamas and went to school because I didn't think we need to self-promote. We didn't need to, pat ourselves in the back. My good work speak for itself. People will see through it, and I'll get my promotions or whatnot, and I'll stand out in class. But obviously, that's not the case. So kudos. I mean, great tips this morning. So thanks for the 5 minutes today. I want to show you my solution. It is a occupancy booking tool for licensed daycare. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me. So my name is Agnes. I'm a hockey mom to a 11-year-old boy. Serial entrepreneur. I started actually really back in the university day. I used to tutor, and then the demand got too big. So then I started a tutoring agency altogether, matching everybody up and dealing with curriculum. Post engineering school and business school, then I found my passion in management consulting. Soon after that, realizing that my specialty is in sales. So specializing in sales consultancy. And when I saw this daycare problem about, I would say, now thinking back 8 years ago, that's when Kinderdrop was sort of that little bud and seed of idea came about. And it's not until about 2-ish years ago that I did something about it in terms of this particular startup. So it was really trying to solve my problem. From a priority standpoint, I really try to lead a healthy work-life balance schedule. But back to what the panel is saying, as moms, as wives, mentor business owners, we try to do it all, and really trying to find that balance in our workday, day to day. But this is where my story began with Kinderdrop. So my mom had to take care. I had a business meeting came up, and I have to find someone to take care of my kid. And my mom decided she can't do it that day. So I was scrambling, like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Can I find a neighbor? Do I stay home? Can I ask my husband? You are trying to make it work. And that's sort of where the frustration come from. And then like, there's gotta be a better solution than what's out there right now in terms of trying to find childcare services that doesn't really quite jive now with today's parents. So when I look at renting a sales consultancy led me to run a business case on this. So I'm like, okay, there's 4 million households with stay-at-home relative childcare. What if the grandma can't take care of the little Bobby one day, and what if that babysitter can't take care of little Lindsay another day? What is my market value here, and what is the market sizing here? We did some research in 2018 to come up with, and we interview our target demographics to find that each parent or each guardians will use Kinderdrop once a month per kid per household. So I'm very quickly coming up with the numbers. That's a $1.67 billion business just on that use case. So we decided to do something about it back in 2018. Back to the point of why childcare is so hard to find in the city. I don't know about your city, but in general, our research in North America tells us that licensed daycare availabilities have capacity, not even counting the daycare desert area. So it is a scarce resource, and daycare availability is only sold by month. So if you think about the way that we consume childcare services versus how our work schedule is anymore, and or how parenting is right now, I think our existing childcare services, the way it's set up, the way that we buy childcare services is sort of out of date. Obviously, there's a lack of leading to a lack of flexibility addressing today's parenting need. And of course, the cost of daycare operations is on the rise for the daycares. So that's how we figured, you know what, there is definitely a use case here as we dig deeper into the solution. We thought, you know what, if travelers have Expedia and students have Udemy, why can't daycare and parents have Kinderdrop? Our solution is pretty simple. Think of us as the Yelp and the Airbnb in the licensed daycare world. We partner with childcare services that has availability. And you might ask, Agnes, how is it possible that they have availability if they're fully occupied? The answer is simple. There's actually a lot of childcare capacity in a daycare that goes to waste. There are part-timers into childcare services that they can resell the spots. There's also spots that save if it's the academic year is for an intake of 18 months starting September. So if the 18-month-old doesn't turn 18 months until November, there's actually capacity between September to November for that spot, for that child, that's safe for that child. So we partner with the childcare licensed daycare, and we work in the parents community to see if we can work with them to find them a spot in our app. It is very self-explanatory. You go in there, you take a look at what's offered within your area. We have programs where every Thursday they have open house to visit the childcare, so they're not visiting the childcare for the first time. And we encourage parents to do all the registration during open house, but if they don't, the registration is also emailed to them so that all the paperwork is done prior to their first day. So the first day of drop off is nice and simple when they have to go on with their day. On the daycare side, it is a flexible platform allowing them to buy and sell inventory. Right now, the only one way to buy and sell inventory is that monthly, you come and do this. We're helping them sort of segment the inventory a little differently. And I always compare this, and I tell my daycare, think of it like chocolate bar. You go, you have these chocolate bar brought to the supermarket, and sometimes the corner is sort of broken. Does it mean that that piece of chocolate is no good? No, you just have to think about different way of selling that piece of chocolate. Administratively, we're trying to make it as simple as possible. As soon as we are able to get to the market fit that we need and validate it, we're actually already talking to some of the childcare services, asking them what other admin tool they use in the background and how can we integrate those with those admin tools so that it becomes a seamless operation for them working with Kinderdrop. Also, we believe this is also a good way for daycare to reach new market, as not all parents require full-time childcare services anymore. How can you reach the part-time more effectively or a wider market more effectively? And like I mentioned, think of us as a Yelp or even Groupon of the world. So, you know, it's a new marketing avenue for us, for the childcare as well, to be amongst other childcare in the area, and then leverage the power of social to get additional traction from a marketing standpoint, because we know those are the pain point in the daycare side, because daycare operator tends to just know how to service the child. They are not marketing expert, nor they sales expert or admin experts. The revenue model.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. I know for me, this already sounds really, really awesome. And I know that people are going to be very interested to learn more details about Kinderdrop. So I want to really, wow, even thinking of that idea. So awesome. So I know everyone, I want to let you know that Agnes will be available to connect with her more in the lounge experience. So let's go ahead and get over to the time where we can actually all connect with each other and network. So thanks again, Agnes, for a fantastic presentation. Just go ahead and click mic off, camera off for me. And we'll go into talking about how to engage in the networking experience. So a lot of you are here to really meet those Boeing leaders. You can meet some of the speakers that spoke earlier, but also we have a lot more people joining us from the Boeing team today. So this is your chance to really engage and get answers to your questions, participate in a roundtable discussion. So today we have 10 plus Boeing leaders all ready to talk with us on procurement, global diversity and equity, digital transformation, HR and recruitment, mergers and acquisition, navigating company culture, and also IT innovation and technology over the years. So I'll show you the floor plan now before we go into the networking lounge. So in Remo, in the lounge where you just joined, all you have to do to get to a table is to double click on an open seat. And you'll be able to see just below each table has the name of the topic that that table is about. So you can easily zoom in, zoom out to make it really easy to see, click and drag to move around the screen. There's also a table where you can learn more about Itrex, and then a table where you can learn more about Kinderdrop. So before we go there, I'm going to invite just one or two of the Boeing leaders to, the advisors, to come back on stage with me and share what they are most looking forward to from today's conversations, kind of like a reverse pitch, like who are they excited to meet today, and also share a little bit about you, a little bit with you about what they will be speaking about today. So Paris, I want you to come back, please. All you have to do is click mic on, camera on to come on stage. And then Jana, I'm going to give you access to join me on. So welcome, Paris. Welcome back. So Paris, let's start with you. Tell us about the roundtable discussion you're leading and who you're most looking forward to meeting today. What do you want to get out of today's conversations?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm super excited. So I'm leading a roundtable discussion around IT, technology, innovation. And so I'm most looking forward to gaining perspective, making some new connections. And I really want to hear what's important to women in the industry around this topic, because it's never ending, it seems like. There's so much transformation happening in our space. And so I'm super excited to just connect with the rest of the community and see what's going on outside of the four walls of Boeing. Boeing is a small country, so I want to know what's going on out there in the rest of the world.
I love that. Thanks, Paris. Next, let's have Jana, you go ahead, and I'll also invite Alicia to come on to speak a little bit about what she's looking forward to. So Jana, over to you.
All right, thanks. Hi, everyone. I'm today going to be talking about navigating company culture. And, culture is something that we often talk about, but do we really know what it is? What makes up a culture? And the conversation today that I want to frame up and hear from you on is around what are some of those hidden or written and unwritten rules around culture. I think sometimes the unwritten rules are more powerful than the written ones. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Thanks.
Jana. Next, Alicia, welcome. Go ahead and introduce yourself to folks and let them know what you'll be speaking about today at your roundtable.
Thank you. Alicia here with Boeing HR. We're going to be talking about leadership development and some of those competencies of the future, and look forward to seeing your guys' smiles.
I love that. Thank you, Alicia. Go ahead and click mic off, camera off. And everybody, as you go into the lounge, I'm going to stop the presentation mode that we're in right now. Don't be shy. If you're sitting alone at a table, just double click on an open seat at another table where you can see folks are at and join that conversation. Just double click on an open seat and you can move around to that table. I'm going to give you about 20 minutes to connect in the lounge. I'll put a little timer at the top and then we'll come back for closing remarks. Thanks, everybody, and have fun in the lounge. Welcome back, everybody. I know the time never seems like enough, and those conversations can just keep going and going and going. I really hope that you all enjoyed the engagements that you were able to have today. I want to hear from one of the folks in the audience that's with us. Go ahead and click raise hand if you're brave enough to join me and share what your experience was like, and I'll bring you up on stage with me. But until then, I want you all to share in the chat over today's event. What was the experience like for you? Did you get anything out of it? Again, let's do that on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm going to bring Lucy Flores on stage with me to share what her experience was like today as we conclude. Lucy, go ahead and turn on your mic and camera and you can come on and join me.
Yes, hi. Nice to
Hi,
see you again.
Lucy. Nice to see you.
nice
So
to
how
see
was
you.
it for you today?
I had a very, very good conversation with the table on human resource and recruitment. The Boeing representatives, Alicia and Sumi, and I'm forgetting the other one, I'm sorry, but the three of them shared their insights about, the competencies that, they are trying to hone among the leaders or the would-be leaders of the Boeing organization. And they share that so that, we have people in our organization that we want to train as well, or we're trying to build, relationships with clients. What kind of competency do you need to be able to compete in this world, especially during this time? So there's a lot of learning there. Thank you so much for sharing. Awesome. And they shared a lot of resources, the books, the United Nations goals, the 2030 goals. Awesome. So very, very powerful, rewarding experience with that table.
That is so great, Lucy. So happy to hear it. You can just go ahead and click mic off, camera off. I'm seeing lots of comments as well from other attendees in the chat, really saying that it was rewarding and giving shout outs to the advisors that were at their table for their great insights. So thank you so much to the Boeing team for joining us and really standing up for economic access. I'd like to, before we close today, I would love to invite Kara South back to the stage just to, give some closing comments. And I'll also invite Chaitra Vidulapalli on as well as we close, just to talk about their experiences today. So welcome, Kara. Welcome, Chaitra.
Thank you.
So, ladies, what was it like for you, Kara? Go ahead and share.
Yeah, so a few connections here. I just wanted to bring this to the table. Absolutely heard a lot of positive connections that have happened. One of the ones that definitely came up in the procurement table would have been a great one for this if we had a little bit more numbers there that we could have added to that table. But a number of questions about, well, how do I bring my product to a company like Boeing that's so large as a corporation? And there's definitely some steps that you have to do to become a company that Boeing will look at products and those type of things. But anyway, so we can have a follow-up if that's what we need to do. So that was definitely a number of questions. In addition, the technology table that we had, it was really interesting to have those conversations about what we're seeing regarding what the technologies that are coming and what's happening, the differences of where we have been in our journey and then where we're going. The other two things I wanted just to connect with on the table here, and Chaitra, you can follow up on this, and Riza, a number of people ask, well, how can we get a hold of the leaders here, and how can we become, mentees or advisors or, close, get connected? And as you know, the warm introduction, there's a new tool that Women in Cloud has this year, and you can totally expand upon that, is a major connection for us to leverage for both Boeing, our leaders, and then also mentees. And then the last one is definitely our Women in Cloud Summit, our annual event. I think this is the 6th one that's coming up here. 4th. Okay, sorry. I lose track of time. I have 3 kids. I can't help it. But anyway, so just to put that out there, you might expand upon that. A lot of people don't know that we even have that, but it's been an amazing, amazing experience every year, over 1,500 attendees. And the other comment, and I'll be quiet here in a minute, is Remo. It kept getting brought up. Oh my gosh, this is an amazing experience, especially for a virtual meeting. We should do this more. And so, as you know, we did our virtual summit, which was amazing experience to have that many people on many floors and trying to navigate all that. So you guys did an amazing job doing all that. So unpacked all that.
Yeah, Kara, first is thank you for being such an absolute champion and ambassador for Women in Cloud and really creating economic access for women inside Boeing and connecting them to amazing opportunity. The thing that I want to give a loud shout out is for Tina Wong. She was at the procurement table. I would say of all the conversations I've had about the procurement conversation, she was the best. So Tina, thank you for doing that. Yes, there was all these questions about how to do business with Boeing. I think I understood for the first time, and we will follow up with you. And so Tina, for doing that. And really, the entire panel did a fabulous job on really communicating and bringing stories, because these stories are the ones that will inspire us to work with Boeing, connect with Boeing ecosystem, and want to work with Boeing in different ways, inside the company, maybe as partners of the company. So it was very helpful. So thank you for being here with us today. The thing around the warm introduction, we would love the Boeing leaders to also have their profiles there, so they can actually step into the advisorship and help the community to advise on different topics. It can be procurement, it can be leadership, it can be tech. So invite all of you to do that. And all attendees, request introductions. We have automated warm introductions for the first time. So we don't have to do all these, let's connect here, let's connect there. Everything is automated in a way, it feels very authentic. And lots of double opt-ins, so nobody is going to be bombarded with a lot of crazy emails. So that we will promise of that. Again, we focus on entrepreneurship, employability, and making sure the policies are set for us so we can have a fantastic journey in the tech space. So again, Raisa, great work in pulling this event together. You did a fabulous work. And Erin, as a partnership leader for Women in Cloud, fantastic relationship that you have built with Boeing. So to the entire VIC team, thank you for doing what you guys do for creating economic access for all.
Thank you so much, ladies, and thanks everyone. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you again in the lounge and at the next Fortune 100 Lunch and Learn session. Have a great day. Bye.